Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today we got the beautiful Freewing Eurofighter 90mm in front of me. I forgot to film the intro at the airfield, so I'm doing it in my backyard, but nevertheless, beautiful 90mm Eurofighter in front of me. There's a lot of stuff to go over with this jet. If you're wondering about the scheme, I did get it from Cali Graphics. They did custom make it for me. Turned out very nice. I'm very happy with the way it turned out. So we are running a 6S 6000 size battery. There is significant mods to the battery tray to get these 6000 where I would like to get good CG and how it flies best. More on that later in the setup video, but for now, let's get straight into the review.
Eurofighter 90mm is one of my favorite jets that I have in the hangar, and that says a lot because I do have or have had a lot of the Freewing 80 or 90mm jets, and every one of those jets does bring something unique to the table, but Eurofighter just tops all of them, and especially the way I like to fly, fast, slow, tight corners, all of that stuff. Eurofighter will do it all with no complaints. The flying characteristics of Eurofighter is what made me like this jet the most out of most of my planes in the hangar, because it is a big scale 90mm and it does have a lot of wing area, which does in turn make it very stable. My AS3X Plus does help with that a lot, again, set up at the end of the video, but Eurofighter is just an excellent platform of a delta wing. Compared to the Gripen or other delta wings I've flown, it's just a lot more stable, and it just feels like you're flying a lot more quality of an airplane. Eurofighter will do those minimum radius turns all day with no weird stall tendencies or anything to be worried about. High alphas like an absolute animal. And with the new Freewing 1960 kV motor, you do get some really good vertical and some really impressive speed out of this model, but since it is a delta wing, when you do let off that throttle, it does bleed speed pretty fast, so just be mindful of that and keep on the power while you're flying it. It won't drop a wing or anything nasty, but just be aware and conscious of your speed. As you can see, it goes up, and when I use that rudder, it just kicks that tail around unlike anything I've ever seen before. The Gripen does take a while to do that. It does a huge loaded roll, and it's nowhere near as agile as Eurofighter. Like, see there, I just gave it a little bit of rudder because it does have a lot of control surface on the tail, and that helps just kick that butt around and make it slide through the air. Another minimum radius turn, as you can see, really stable, no complaints there at all. Those are extremely fun to do. It does it a lot better than my Freewing F-22, and that thing does them really good, but the Eurofighter is just more stable when put in those high G maneuvers. With that 1960 kV 90mm in-runner motor, the Eurofighter has plenty of speed. For guys like me, whose speed is a decent factor when buying a jet, the Eurofighter does not disappoint. It does go pretty fast, but like I said before, keep on that throttle just because you will notice it will bleed off speed pretty quick. Not as quick as the Gripen, but just because of that delta wing, it does bleed off speed pretty fast. So even though it flies relatively light and the wings don't want to stall, just be mindful of when you're gliding that it will bleed off speed pretty fast, and just be ready to kick on that throttle as soon as you see it get a little slow. One of my favorite maneuvers is just popping it up in the center and putting it in a nice high G loaded roll. As you can see, you just give it some rudder and it just slides that butt around, and it looks excellent, and no stall tendencies, nothing to be worried about when you're doing maneuvers like this just because of the delta profile. On to the takeoff and landing portion of this video. This was one battery of continuous touch and goes, and you can see it's all one clip, and they all were absolute butter. This jet does not disappoint when it comes in for a landing. when I tell you every landing is like that, every single landing with the Eurofighter is as smooth as that first one. You will see in these next couple of clips, it is back to back to back greasers, just because of that nice big wing area and just how stable the Eurofighter is when it comes in for landing. Actually, landing the Eurofighter is pretty simple. As a delta wing, it is capable of high angles of attack. So just hold on that elevator, keep that nose pointed up, manage your descent with throttle, and it should just butter itself in. It does land a lot smoother and a lot better than the Gripen. The Gripen I kind of struggle to land, but this one I butter almost every single landing, and I just do not have any complaints when it does come to landing this jet. No nasty stall tendencies like the F-14 or the F-18 or anything like that. It doesn't sink really fast, and one thing I do recommend is popping up that air brake. It does help with overall stability, not so much as slowing it down, but it definitely does make a difference of it just being more stable in the air. As for the battery compartment, this is where I'm running my HRB 6050C battery. We got the afterburner plugged in up here, and then if you're wondering where my receiver is, it is tucked on the side down there. That is a 10 AR360T. And if you're wondering about the battery tray mods I did, for the battery tray, this is where the mixing board would normally sit, but I ripped that out and then dremeled it out to make it even with here. Shout out to my buddy Nick, he helped me with 90% of this. I would not have been able to know this or do it without him. Thanks so much to him for helping me set this up. Anyway, so the mixing board goes right here, and ripped it out and then bypassed the mixing board using the Two Bros mixing setup and receiver setup, and then I actually screwed the battery strap down in the wood piece, so it's just one set of thing. It's a little something to do, but it saves you a lot of time when you're putting the battery in. So there is my battery tray. HRB 6000 goes right in the middle of that, and that puts me about 10 millimeters behind the CG marks on the wings, which I find to fly perfectly. Didn't mess with the air brake or anything, but that is the battery tray mod and how the plane is set up. Now onto the rates and setup and AS3X programming on my remote. All right guys, onto the setup for my remote. We're gonna start off with rates and expo. I'm at 90% with 40% expo. And then for elevator, I am at 100% with 30% expo. And then rudder is just 100, yep, 120. And onto the AS3X settings, which it varies from plane to plane, but this is a good baseline. It did take me a while to get the AS3X dialed in. Gyro settings, AS3X settings, AS3X gains. So these are my gains. It will vary because, like I said, my buddy Nick, his gains are different from mine. Even though we do have the same Eurofighter in both AS3X Plus, it will vary from plane to plane. So those are the gains, and I don't have them on a dial or anything. Those are just set gains. And it is Elevon wing type, and you will notice the AS3X does stabilize the canards a lot more than the elevators on the back. Themselves are extremely durable. Not that you'll need the durability, but very good oleo suspension on the main gear and in the front gear. It really helps smooth out those landings, even though this plane lands smooth anyway. So there is my setup, rates, CG, fit and finish of the Freewing Eurofighter.
Alrighty, so now on to my final thoughts and feedback of the Eurofighter. I think it is an excellent platform of a delta wing. Definitely outperforms the 80mm Gripen. Granted, that is the only delta wing I can compare it to because I haven't tried any others like the Rafale or the J10, but this is just an excellent performer. With those AS3X gains in there and everything, it is really locked in the air. Really good at high alpha, doesn't stall, nice big jet, very cool presence in the air, lands extremely well. I honestly do have no complaints with this jet. Flight time is good because of the cheater holes help with efficiency. Power is good. Freewing honestly didn't do anything wrong with this jet. I try to find stuff that can draw back a jet. If you guys are spending hundreds of dollars on these models, then you would want to know what's wrong with them. But honestly, besides all of the work that I did put into this, I can't really find anything structurally or fit and finish wise that is disappointing about the Eurofighter. With other jets I can, but I don't know, the Eurofighter, it's a really well built jet, and it performs well too. So there you go. If you don't have one already, we'll definitely recommend putting in the work and adding it to your hangar. So that concludes the whole video, full review of the Freewing Eurofighter 90mm. Hope you guys enjoyed. We got more jets to get through, so stay tuned for future videos, and we'll see you guys in the next one.